So as you can see, I removed the cap from the USB blaster here. I have spent 2 days pretty much solid trying to get this to see anything, or the software actually, it's the software. The software doesn't see this. It comes up with the JTAG server error. I've tried 5 different versions of it, like light versions, just individual programmer versions. I set up a virtual machine, a Win 10 virtual machine, a Win 7 virtual machine. The first issue with the driver is it fails to install. Okay, it's an old version. It's probably the driver signing date, you know, the certificate that's expired that was used to sign it. So of course I set the time date back to 2020. Virtual machine, oh, that was fun. I set it back to 2020 and then start to program it. Hang on a minute, the date's changed again. Yeah, virtual machine, your virtual box automatically syncs the time and date. There's no option for that, it just does it. It's like, thanks for that, thanks for giving us an option to stop that happening. Because there are times where you want to change the date on a machine, not have it just automatically constantly updated. Anyway, I got round all those issues, managed to install it. It detected this, yeah, but the software still came up with a JTAG error, JTAG error, JTAG error. It doesn't matter what version you used, doesn't matter what I did, what VM, what OS, always a JTAG error. It didn't even detect the USB blaster, but you go into devices and you'd have USB blaster, fine, and you double click on it and it would go, this driver is installed correctly, everything's working, yeah, with no other errors. And it's like, I went through the licensing thing on the Intel website, because if you go into if you install the light version, you go into licensing, and then there's you choose like download license. It gives you 4 options. None of them say you can use this for free. There's a trial, and you click that, but then it still wouldn't detect it. And then the other option was, it says if you've not got a license, the programming feature will not be working. You know, you can't program things. So I'm thinking, is that the issue? Is it licensing? So I spent God knows how long going around through the Intel trauma of licensing. I tell you what, the tool chain for this is absolutely crap. I don't know what Intel are playing at. It's like when this was a free product, you know, from Altera, before Intel bought it, it had the greatest respect from so many people, and then Intel took over, and now you've got to create an account on Intel. You've got to, it takes time. It's like 15 minutes for your account to be created, and then it's 20 minutes of trying to search for the email. Eventually I did get an activation, and then the website's so slow, it's painful to navigate. You've got to have Microsoft Authenticator on your phone, which is a new thing that Microsoft started to cheese me off with, and scan codes and wait for emails and type in PIN numbers. It's just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous for something as simple as this. And I'd given up, and I was going to literally smash this to pieces. I tell you, I have lost my you-know-what, and given up on this. I'm like, I'm just not going to have a 3000. I'm not bothered. I don't want one. I don't want an SD Mac. This is just too painful, which is ridiculous. But it's like, I tell you, it really pushed me to the point of exploding. So anyway, I gave up for a day. That's often the best way to do. If you get absolutely like me, then it's rare for me to get like this. I've just had so many real world things going on at the same time. Health problems, car problems, shower problems, eye problems, teeth problems. Not just mine, it's like across me and my wife, and it's just like expenditure that's gone absolutely insane. And then I thought I'll chill out by trying to get the 3000 working, you know, and then I hit this problem, and I'm just like, I just want to just smash everything to pieces. That's what I feel like. But anyway, Andy T posted on my Discord, is it a clone like mine? He says, I had this problem, and he pointed me, ironically, to the SD Mac Discord. I wish to God I'd had a look on there, because I'd have seen this. I've not been following it. I've had too many other things going on, and I just can't keep track. But anyway, he had this problem where I think for him it wouldn't work in Linux, but it would work a bit in Windows. Mine just doesn't do anything. But then I read one of his comments, and it says JTAG error, JTAG server error, JTAG server error. That's what I get. Yeah, some sort of connectivity thing to the internet, which is weird. It must be some verification, and it's going, I think you got a clone. But this is what I don't get. There's no verbosity on that Quartus software. It's like, just give us some verbosity. Have a little log at the bottom, say, searching for JTAG adapter. If it's invalid or there's some problem, say, you know, can't connect, is this a clone, question mark, or something. Because, you know, you're just making it more and more painful to people to use the tool chain and stuff. And it's like, it's a bit like all these things. It makes you want to find ulterior ways, you know, alternative ways where you don't pay anything and you're doing corrupt, you know, things, if you see what I mean. You know, I'm looking for like hacks. Quartus hacks, is there a hacked version? Can I hack this? Can I bypass the verification? And it's like, we shouldn't need to do that. It should be, if it's verbose and it came up, and this is the other thing about licensing, if there was a fee associated, if it came up saying you can pay a one-time fee for £20 or something, or £10 for 1 month or something, I would have done that. I honestly would have done that. I would have put my PayPal details in and paid Intel 20 quid to be able to use a clone with this thing, if that's the issue. But if it's a case of a clone doesn't work because it's a clone, well, just tell us it's because it's a clone, and then at least I would have gone, oh, it's a clone, and I could have gone and bought an official one from Intel or something, or, you know, Terrasic, or whoever sell them. Anyway, rant aside, I've asked Andy if he can give me the bin for this firmware, because while someone's kindly, you know, worked out the fix for this and put it on GitHub, there's instructions there on compiling it on Linux. I don't know why the bins can't be distributed on anything. It's like, it's so irritating. It's all right if you're a genius and you've got a Linux box and you can download all the things and run make and compile it and all the rest of it. I just want a bin. Why can't I just download a bin? So please, you know, these amazing people who do things like this, please put a bin there. Anyway, so if I can get that from Andy, from what I understand, they need to short D3 and 3.3 together. When I plug this in, that puts it in download mode. Now, I've downloaded the software from China for this chip, which means I should be able to actually flash it that way. I don't need Linux to use the Linux flashing tool that someone's kindly produced. Windows for me is far easier, so you can see, you know, how this works. A bunch of resistors, there's the connectivity out. It's just that MCU, there's going to be a crystal, maybe. It might be self-clocked, you know, maybe a crystal inside or on the other side of the board, maybe. The odd transistor and cap, but it just connects to the USB port here. And as I say, if I short that to that, plug it in, run the software, hopefully get the bin from Andy, and I can fire the bin at this. Maybe it'll work. I don't know. I've got the feeling after that, if that doesn't work, a hammer is going to come to this. Yeah, so I'm going to get a switch onto this, actually. There's a few different ways you could do it. I was thinking I could solder a pin header and a pin header and then have some sort of connection between them, or a wire into there soldered, and then I could just push it into there, and then when it connects, just pull the wire out. But, well, then there's a wire flapping around inside of that I'll need to remove, so I figured, why not just stick a button on it? It's got a plastic underside, you know, under here is plastic, and there's just a little metal contact, so hopefully I might be able to squeeze this one in. Will that fit between there? Look at that, that's going to just do, hang on. Yeah, just do the job, I think, if I'm careful. And then I can just press that button as I stick it in. Right, that'll do. Yeah, there's unequal size solder points, but do you know what? It doesn't need to be a Picasso, does it? It's never ever going to see light of day again once the cover goes back on this. Right, I'm going to clean that up anyway, just because, well, there's a lot of flux in there. So it could be challenging to connect this up, but what I can do is, you know, plug that there. There you go, you can do it's clicky. Plug the cable in, and it'll go beep beep or something into programming mode and let go. And that's it. So you know what? That's actually going to be totally usable that way. And a wee bit more reliable than having a bodged wire that's floating around with 3.3 volts in there. So there'll be a link down below to where I downloaded this wchisp tool _CH54X/55X, and you can see I set the chip series to CH55X, chip mold to CH552. That might vary depending on what model you've got. You need to check that. And the download port USB. And then it's simply a case of adding an object file. You can see there's a tick box there, and you click on the little ... button to the left there to select a file. And I selected the binary that Andy gave me that was a compile of the Linux build. And then you can see how the tick boxes are set there on the download config. If you replicate the optional ones, tick them as I've got there. Namely, enable reset pin as manual reset. Run the target program after the download. Yes, you want to tick for that. And you want to tick on the enable no key serial port download. In order to get this to work, obviously you hold that button down that you just saw me solder as you plug the USB in. And then in this software, you should be able to program it up. Just using the options you can see on the screen there, really. You just click download, which is a weird thing, because you're not downloading, you're uploading. I never understand why the terminology on some of these things is the opposite way around. You know, you've got to press download to actually program it. Oh my god, that all worked. I can't believe it. It's like 2 days in the bin, but we've got there. I can't honestly believe it. I'm in shock. So much wasted time. So it's thanks to Andy. Andy's my hero. As Andy's just pointed out, it was Bilander, Jorgen, who pointed him towards this, you know, the firmware thing for this. But then he was like, oh, you need to use, what's his name, Linux. And I'm like, no, I don't. I'm going to go with Windows. And he used the official toolchain that goes with this chip. And you saw me, I think I put a screenshot there, and I talked over that, what I actually did, because I didn't film it. And I flashed it OK from Windows. We just needed that button. One thing I would say about that button, you hold that button down, you plug it in. It was a bit hit and miss as to did it detect it, did it not detect it. I had to go in and out a few times, and then, you know, held it down, plugged it in, wait for it to make a few tones, let go, press it again, and then I heard another tone, and then the software detected it. And then obviously we've done that. I installed Quartus 19.1, I think it was again, and same thing, I'd set the time date back to 2020 to install the driver quickly, and then the time automatically updated on its own to 2025, but the driver was installed. And then I went to Quartus, there was no USB blaster listed. I clicked hardware, add hardware, and the USB blaster was listed straight away for the first time in 2 days.